All right, back in the basement again today to talk about the newest addition, which is this Prime HLP single stack. This thing is a beast. I've been posting about the progress on Instagram. I'm getting a lot of questions and want to just kind of answer some of those up front and give you my first impressions on it. Now, this is actually one of several pieces of equipment that I ordered at the beginning of this year. You guys have seen some videos already and some I haven't really gone in depth on yet. Like for instance, you've seen the Rogue RM3 turn into a RM5 or RM6, if you will. You've seen maybe in the background of some stuff, the Sorinex Iron Bear mass storage system, which is right here to my right. You may have seen on Instagram, but probably not on YouTube yet because I just got it last week. The Sorinex Collegiate GHD, which is right here on my left. So right now I'm sitting in a Sorinex sandwich. Feels pretty good. And the latest addition right behind me, and technically I'm sitting on, is this single stack from Prime. And again, I want to answer some questions that I've been getting about it. And let's start with the price, because I think pricing is something that I've been getting asked the most on. Now, let me forewarn you, this is not a cheap piece of equipment. And I buy some expensive stuff. I think this is the single most expensive single item that I've purchased so far. And after shipping and taxes, I think I'm looking at like $4,400. Lots of money. Now, it's a little bit deceiving because when you talk to someone from Prime, they're going to tell you that the unit itself starts at $2,800, which is true, but it doesn't really come with anything. Now, that's $2,800 for the weight version, which I have right here. So not the plate loaded. This is the selectorized, which means it comes with a 350-pound stack, which is great because it has a lat pull down, which is a true 1-to-1 ratio. You're getting all 350 pounds. It does also have an adjustable cable column, which is pretty sweet. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that a ton outside of maybe just some seated rows. That is a 2-to-1 ratio, so you're not getting that full 350-pound stack. They have the plate-loaded version, which you have some other options on, and it's also going to bring the price down a little bit. But for $2,800, you literally just get the actual frame, the weight stack, and that's it. Meaning you don't get the lat pull-down seat I'm sitting on right now. That's an upcharge. You don't get the foot plate for the seated rows. That's an upcharge. You don't get any of Prime's fancy handles, which they're probably most well known for a lot of home gym users. Those are all upcharges. You also can't get it in white for this single $2,800 price point they charge you. That's another $300 upcharge. So starts at $2,800, but depending on what you want to get, for me, I got the lat pull down seat, I got the seated row foot plate, and I got a custom white color, no handle attachments whatsoever. That was $4,400 after shipping and tax. So really super expensive. I wouldn't suggest this for anyone at home, but again, this is a commercial grade piece of equipment. This should be in a gym and not necessarily a basement. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for most people training at home in a home gym, $4,400 is an absurd amount of money. Even for me, it's an absurd amount of money. And it's probably why I've waited to this point to tell my wife how much I actually paid for this thing. But that being said, it's a solid unit, obviously being commercial grade, but you training at home could probably get away with a lot other more economical options like the Rep Fitness rack attached lat pull down that I have, which is plate loaded, but it's a fantastic piece of equipment. One of the reasons I went with this, like I said, I really wanted a selectorized version. I wanted to also kind of cater to the aesthetics of the gym. I wanted something in white. I also wanted something that was easy to get down into the basement, which is another question I've been getting. How did it ship? Some people who ordered this previously, even up to like a year ago, know that it got delivered fully assembled, which if you're in a garage, hey, that's great. It comes right in, just wheel it off the truck and into your space. Great. Someone training in a basement, not as great because you're going to have to take it all apart and then bring it to the basement and put it all back together. And most things that ship completely assembled don't come with instructions because there's nothing to build or put together. So you have to kind of figure it out as you go, which could lead to trouble for someone like me. So I went with this because after talking with the rep at Prime, he actually let me know that they now ship this disassembled, which is awesome because I can just bring it all down in the basement, take a look at the instructions, and build it. So it saves me time, it saves me a lot of effort, and I can really appreciate that, which is one of the reasons why I didn't mind paying more for this unit versus the other main one I was considering, which was the one from Sorinex, which was cheaper, but ships fully put together and I'd have to take it apart and whatever. And also just the footprint of this fitting nicely in the corner like it does now, the way it's designed, was just a big selling point for me. I will say I got a lot of questions from people, why did I get the Rogue version? Mostly because, again, it ships assembled, and also because you can't get any kind of customization on it. It only comes in black. Or why did you just get the Titan Fitness version? And main reason for that is because it's Titan, and I have a long history with Titan Fitness. I side with my boy Alan Thrall on that one. And speaking of my boys out there, I do want to give a big shout out to Adam from Garage Gym Lab, who owns the single stack himself. And I went and asked him a ton of questions before I ordered mine, and he really helped guide me the way. He also helped me with my Sornex pieces, so I should probably block him because he ends up costing me lots and lots of money, as I'm sure I have also probably cost you guys lots and lots of money in the past. So next thing I want to talk about with this is the actual assembly of it. So that's another big question. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it ships disassembled, which is great. How much of a pain in the butt was it to put together? And to be honest, it was super easy. But before I get into that, I also want to kind of parlay this into also talking about something that's super easy, which is the sponsor of this video, and that is Oats Overnight. Now, Oats Overnight offers a ton of great flavors. In fact, there's 8 of them out there. They sent me a ton. This one in particular is my favorite, which is the peanut butter cookie dough, and I think there's some cacao in there also. This thing tastes great, and one of the big reasons I'm a big fan of it is because how easy it is to do this. You guys have probably made traditional overnight oats before. You got to get a lot of ingredients, and it kind of becomes a little bit tedious after a while, so you end up making a ton of batches just because you want to save time and effort. You don't have to do that anymore because everything here comes in these pre-made packets, which are great, and they have extremely good macros. Each one has over 20 grams of protein. They have some good mix of complex carbs in there, some fat, low sugar if you're into kind of that thing. They also have a ton of options when it comes to their dairy options, like with whey protein in it, and then also some non-dairy options. So if you're vegan or just don't like dairy, you have some options with some of those flavors as well. And again, it's really convenient for me because at night, instead of going and prepping a bunch of food for tomorrow, whether I want this for a quick breakfast or maybe an intra-training snack, a post-training snack, whatever the case may be, it's already prepared. Once you do it, you can just eat it whenever you want. I just go and I mix it in with some milk or a milk alternative. Like for this case, I've been using almond milk because that's what we have in the house. Put it in the shaker, mix it all up, stick it in the fridge, set it and forget it if you will. And then the next day, whenever I want it, whether it's for breakfast, for a snack, for training, just go to the fridge, grab it, and it's simple and easy and tastes really good. And again, the macros on this thing are great. So you're looking at in this case, 20 grams of protein, 30 some grams of carbs, some fat in there as well. It's like 390 calories for the peanut butter cookie dough one that I have, which is good because a lot of other ones that I've had, these like intra snacks and whatever, they're like 200 calories or less, which from a dieting standpoint is okay, but from a sustenance standpoint just doesn't do it for me. And I always end up having to eat more because that's not really something that'll get me by. In this case, these Oats Overnight definitely do. So if you're interested, check them out. I'll leave a link in the description box below. And you can use Brandon15 to save 15% off of your order. And it's really thanks to companies like these for sponsoring my videos that allow me to buy some of this stuff that I'm going to show you. So speaking of easy, like I said, it was super simple. And if you guys follow me on Instagram where I post a lot of the process of putting things together and whatnot, things that probably don't really make sense for a YouTube video, you'll know that I'm very stubborn when it comes to, number one, bringing everything myself down to the basement. I don't like to ask for help. And also putting stuff together. So I've assembled pretty much, in fact, yes, I could say assembly-wise, every single piece in my gym I've built completely by myself without asking for help. And this is kind of the same circumstance. So again, it ships disassembled. It came on 2 pallets because I also got, a lat pull-down seat and the low row foot plate attachment. But the main crate, everything came nice and packed tightly and also secured down, which is really huge. So nothing was rumbling around. There was no damage to anything upon receiving. The downside is I now have this super beefy pallet I'm going to have to get rid of, which has become second nature to me, getting rid of all this stuff. That's the downside of getting equipment that no one likes to talk about. There is a lot of garbage and trash and recycling that needs to be done. Luckily, Craigslist, there's a lumber shortage. Lumber prices are high. A lot of people will take those pallets for free, save me a trip to the dump, which are great. But I was able to kind of bring everything down to the basement by myself, except for one piece, and that is this main front upright here. And the reason, because if you take a look at how it ships and assembled, it actually has the cables already run for you, which is great. You don't have to run cables. That was something I was worried about initially, that I'm gonna mess up the cables. They're gonna end up fraying. All the cables are pre-run for you, so you don't have to worry about that or the pulleys, outside of just one, and that's the pulley on the stack itself, which is a super easy job. Everything was easy to bring down here. I needed to get my brother-in-law to help with that main one because it had the pulleys, the cables, and just some of the front cross members as well, all bundled together. And it said, do not take these apart until you're ready to put them together. So he did help bring that down. I can take that L, that's okay. No shame in my game for that matter. But from there, everything else was super simple and super easy, and I could do it all myself. That front upright, you just kind of open it up and fold things out and put all the pieces where they should be. So I just laid it out on the floor following the instructions. You then just bolt the things together. And as far as the bolts and the other pieces that are sent here, it's very minimal. I think there's like 10 to 14 bolts overall. Super simple, some washers, some nuts. And that's literally like it. There's not a lot of hardware outside of that. There are some other things that you'll find, like some bumpers for the actual bottom of the weight stack that you need. There's some foot plates for the feet on the rack itself, but hardware-wise, very minimal, which is awesome because there's not a lot of stuff to do. So I laid all that out and bolted the main front post together, then attached the rear post. From there, it was just a matter of basically standing it up by myself and kind of putting it into position. So I waited to put the feet on it until I had it where I wanted it, which is right in this corner, which again is one of the reasons I really like this unit because it's meant to go in corners, put it away, out of the way. Like I said, I'll show you a wider shot of where I'm sitting right now. Perfect. Everything fits really nicely. Put it there, it stands up by itself. Put the bolts in. Again, super simple process. Could do this all by myself. Just need like a ratcheting wrench and something else to stabilize the bolt on the other end. Process went really, really smooth. Once that was in, it was a matter of just kind of getting the weight stack on, which, by the way, the weight stacks come in a couple little boxes, but each little box weighs like 80, 90 pounds. It's surprisingly heavy. You're like, oh, this is just an easy box. I'm going to pick it up. Nope, that thing is really heavy. So laid all the weights out and just kind of put them on the guide rods themselves. And then all you do is you tip the guide rods in and attach them, which is one of the things I was worried about. I thought this was going to be a pain in the butt. I'm going to have to really kind of jam these things in there. Nope, went in super smooth, super easy, attached really well. Once that is in, you basically just put the shield on around the weight stack, and that's where the trouble came. Surprisingly enough, the hardest part of this installation was getting this shield on. Not necessarily getting it in place, that was easy. It comes with a total of 8 little screws you need to attach, and I'm talking little screws here. And for the most part, they're fairly easy. I got 6 of them in, no problem. But 2 of the screws are on the bottom, back, by the weight stack. And literally, I don't know how anyone can fit their hands in there. I can't even get a finger in there. Maybe I have some fat sausage fingers and man hands. I don't know what it is. But I must have reread those instructions a million times. I tried taking off the actual weight shield, taking the weights back out, and there was just no way for me to do it. It wasn't until my wife came down here at like 10:30 at night and was like, what the hell are you still doing down here? Are you okay? You're not answering your phone? And I was like, I can't get this screw in. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm an idiot. I can't figure it out. So luckily she was here to help. She has more petite hands than I. Maybe I should have called Coop. And we were able to get those screws in. But that probably took me like an hour just to do that because I was trying all the ways I could to figure out how to do it. Probably wasting a lot of time. I think I had all the right tools. I have a lot of tools. I'm a handy man. But for some reason, I just needed my wife's hands in order to help me. We barely got it, but we got it. And that was it. So installation outside of that maybe took like an hour, 2 hours. That's by myself. If I actually was open enough to having help, it would have gone really fast because, again, not a lot of pieces. Everything's pretty much done for you. It's just about putting a couple of bolts through, putting one pulley on, and then just tightening the actual cables. But so far, super happy with this actual piece of equipment and the fact that I paid $4,400 for it like 10 weeks ago and I don't see it on my bank statement anymore. I probably don't feel as bad spending that much money for it. Now, obviously, that's not going to be a good review for you because I haven't put it to use. I will give you guys a review of this. I owe you a review of a lot of pieces of equipment. I'm way behind when it comes to that. If there's something specifically you want me to prioritize, as always, leave that in the comment section. Tell me like, hey, do this review. And if I see a lot of people asking for it, I'll make sure I bump that up because I got a lot of barbells to review still. I got new equipment that I've bought myself. I've got stuff that's being sent to me, little things as well. I mentioned, the bare steel pieces of equipment, which are sweet. With the Prime Fitness thing, one of the things that I'm remembering now that I'm talking about that, a lot of people like, how did you get rid of that green? Because if you don't know anything about Prime Fitness, you can relate them to like this lime green color or neon green. It's a super bright green and it's very proprietary because Personally, I'm not a big fan of green like that. Although Adam from Garage Gym Lab, who I've already mentioned, he has some of that green in his logo. For me though, I have this nice white and black unit, but as you can see, and I'll kind of give you some closer shots, I do have some neon green here. That was one of the things they were unwilling to budge on. I asked them, hey, can we get rid of that? Can we swap it out for black, something? And they're like, nope, that's our signature color. That's all you can do. I do have some upgrades and some mods I think I can do to it. So spent $4,400 on this piece of equipment, and I'm already gonna hack it up and mod it a little bit. Shout out to Danny from Infamous Strength, who I don't think you can see his banner when I'm here. It's actually right there, but my friend Danny is kind of going to help me with that because he's done some recent mods to his to swap his out for some red stuff to match his gym. So stay tuned for videos on that as well. I've talked for a long time. This video is longer than I thought it would be. I appreciate you guys watching. Leave me any questions or concerns or comments in the comment section below. That's what it's there for. Leave me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that other stuff that makes YouTube great. It's for the algorithm. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.